Hey everyone and welcome to Storytime. My name is Jake and today we are going to be looking at the subreddit r/idontworkherelady, where people tell us their stories of when they got mistaken for being an employee. If you're new around here, please do hit subscribe down below so that you never miss out on another video. Also, check out the Discord in the top link in the description and vote on the poll at the top right of your screen. But for now, let's sit back, relax and enjoy some I Don't Work Here Lady. Had an I Don't Work Here Lady moment while telling an I Don't Work Here story. From 2010 until 2014, I worked a walk-in, 15 minutes a cut, quick-style salon in the largest shopping centre of an extremely small town. The salon was located 2 doors down from the dollar store, for this story in particular. We also shared a parking lot with Walmart on one end and 4 fast food restaurants on the other end, all subjects for different stories. One cannot comprehend the amount of time I spent wandering the shopping centre, mostly at behest of others and getting paid for it. Being unmedicated/undiagnosed ADHD, I completed my haircuts with speed and accuracy, all while chatting up all clients, not just mine, doing chores and making store runs for the other girls. Even medicated now, I'm not very good at sitting still. I would volunteer for most side jobs and anything that got me out of the store. Being the youngest stylist with restless/anxious energies to spare, I tended to jump up to greet clients. I unwittingly stole a lot of haircuts. If it was slow and my co-workers needed to make up numbers, a lot of requests from different stores poured onto me. Didn't realise what they were doing until later, part of the reason I left. Anytime you wear an apron to a store with an apron in the uniform, you will get mistaken for an employee. It happened to a lot of the girls and myself, but this might have been due to the size of the town and familiar faces. It doesn't seem to matter that the store's apron is bright green, and mine is glitter black vinyl or zebra stripe, or my favourite paisley one tie-dyed background. One such day, I was standing in the back of the line at checkout, arms filled with candy, using my incredibly vivid apron as a sling to carry a verified crap ton of super cheap junk food. I turned to look for the child wailing in the distance of the store and confirmed it was a fit and not abuse. Child of a social worker, it's where my brain goes. When I turned back to face the line, I found the lovely elderly lady in front of me chuckling to herself. She met my eyes saying, "I just did a cartoon-like triple take when I saw you behind me." She giggles a little. "I saw the apron when I looked for the crying baby. I started to turn back around to ask you something and realised your apron wasn't uniform. But then I had to really look at your apron. I think my daughter-in-law, who is a beauty operator, correct term in the 50s, who would love it." I thanked for her compliment and wrote the name of the website I got the apron from down for her. She chuckled again, almost mistaking me for an employee. I told her, "It happens every other time I come in here, but most people are pretty nice when I tell them I don't work here. But I'm here often enough, I could probably find it anyway." She tells me, "That is very sweet," and then her eyes dart towards my shoulder. I realise someone has been clearing her throat behind me for some time. I thought it was the next customer until she tapped my shoulder. I turned, arms filled with a diabetic coma. She steps back, already turning red, realising her mistake. She starts apologising. The woman in front of me laughs so hard she has to lean on the counter for support. I tried to explain to the Karen what we had just been talking about, as she looks mortified. I explain the woman is laughing at the irony, not her mistake. I politely ask her what she was looking for in the first place and sent her in that direction. She, again, apologises and thanks me profusely, backing away. The lady and I start giggling to ourselves for both of our transactions. She came back to the salon with me and left me a $20 tip for your style, good attitude, and how you handle yourself. She was one of my regulars until I left some years later. I really liked that story. That story made me smile. Yes, I work in the airport. No, I don't work for the airlines. Some background. I work for a rental car company in a very small airport. Literally, the airport consists of one room with TSA working as a partition between the entrance to the airport and the gate to board the plane. The front desk of the rental car company is rather large, with the company name on it. It's also the first thing travelers see when they enter the airport, whether it's coming off the plane or coming in to board the plane. So, I'm used to people coming in and thinking we're an all-knowing information booth for the airport, regardless of the large yellow wall behind me or the big letters on the desk. Typically, the information people are looking for is easy enough for me to answer, i.e., when does Alaska Airlines open, what do I do about parking, where is TSA, etc. All the questions are a bit annoying since the airport is only one room and all it would take is for someone to walk 5 steps in any direction to get to the right location. But it is what it is. Also, it is worth mentioning this. It is FAA regulation that airlines have to close down 40 minutes prior to departure. After that time, you cannot check in your flight and you cannot get a boarding pass. And that is on all systems. You cannot check in on your phone or electronic kiosks with less than 40 minutes before departure. To be clear, this is done for Homeland Security reasons and is not due to staffing issues. Once the 40-minute mark passes, all staff and passengers have to go to the secure side of the airport and cannot come back until after the flight takes off. At larger airports, these regulations are either not as well known or not a huge problem, since going through security usually causes people to check in for their flight with an hour or two to spare. But at our little hole-in-the-wall airport, people frequently come in with less than 40 minutes until their flight, because TSA takes less than 5 minutes to get through, regardless of the fact that Alaska Airlines sends email updates to let you know to come in 2 hours before your flight. With all that being said, let's move on to the actual I don't work here lady moment. A customer approached my desk to pick up his rental car. I go through all the paperwork and send him on his way. He comes back a few days later to turn in his car and catch his flight. It is pretty standard with our customers that they are usually pretty avid travelers and have their travel plans perfected to a T. So, the customer hands me the keys to the rental, a print of a receipt, let him know that Alaska Airlines closes soon and that if he needs to get his boarding pass or check a bag, do it soon. Customer grunts and carries on his way. I've done my part, so I'm getting ready for the customers that are coming in on the next flight. I hear an Alaska agent making their stereotypical 5 minutes until the desk closes announcement. I keep doing my thing. Now, usually, there are 3 people working my booth, but due to some complex staffing issues that aren't worth getting into, I was the only one working that day. Additionally, it was one of our more higher volume days. So, I was alone, doing a 3-person job myself, and attempting to get all the cars I needed ready. As I finished getting the last car ready that I needed, the car the customer just returned, I come in from my parking lot to see the customer standing at my desk. He's talking on the phone, making it difficult to talk to him and find out what he needs, obviously upset that I wasn't at the desk constantly. The entire exchange goes like this. Customer, to the phone. Yeah, I can't find anyone that works here. He puts the itinerary down on the desk in front of me. Customer, to me. Check me in. Sorry sir, but I don't work for the airlines. I just do the rental cars. Customer, to the phone. Hold on a second, she's being dumb. To me. What do you mean you can't check me in? You work for the airport, don't you? Yes, I work in the airport, but I don't work for the airlines. If you need your boarding pass, you need to talk to the airlines. There's no one there? Yes, so they have to close 40 minutes prior to the departure per FAA regulations. You're going to have to wait until they come back after the next flight takes off. At this point, the inbound flight has landed and my customers are lining up behind the man at the counter, but the man wasn't willing to accept my information. But I'm supposed to be on that plane. Yes, so unfortunately, without a boarding pass, there is nothing anyone else can do. You will have to wait for an agent to come back and get you rescheduled on the next flight out. Well, go to the back and get one of them for me. I'll wait. He goes back to talking to someone on the phone that's being pressed to his ear the entire time. I'm sorry sir, my booth is completely separate from the airlines. There's no way for me to grab someone from the back. The customer to the phone. Sorry, hold on. It seems like nobody here can do their jobs. To me. If you can't get anyone, then how am I supposed to make my flight? Unfortunately, you have missed it. You will need to wait for an Alaska agent to come back and reschedule, or call the 800 number on their podium. This is ridiculous. Give me my car back. I'll just drive to the other airport myself. Unfortunately, I can't do that either. I go on to explain how I didn't have the availability to send a car one way, and that I had to honour my reservations in the order that they've come. So everyone piled up in the line behind him needed to get their cars first. However, if he was willing to wait for an hour, I could take care of all the customers in the line and go out and clean a car to get him to his destination. He didn't like that idea either, something about how he would miss his connecting flight if he waited an hour. But the drive to his destination would take 3 hours anyways, so he was going to miss his connecting flight regardless. You have two options. You are either checking me in for this flight right now, or you get me someone who can. We go back and forth for another 5 minutes about how I can't do anything for him, but he wasn't going to leave until I did something. At this point, the customers behind him start getting irritable. It's 7 PM. They just want to get into their rental cars and go to their hotels. The customer handing me his phone. Please explain to my boss how you refuse to let me on this plane. I'm not refusing to let you on, I just don't work for the airlines. So, I take the phone and explain the situation to his boss. Unfortunately, your employee missed their flight. It didn't matter that I told him to check in, that the airlines made announcements, or that any other airport would have had the same problem. He was more concerned with his phone than with his travel plans. I hung up the phone, passed it back to him, and ushered him out of the way and towards the direction of the airlines desk, where he spent the next 30 minutes crying and blubbering to try and get on the flight that had already taken off. The next flight wasn't until 5 AM the next day. Thankfully, the rest of the people in the line were abnormally nice to me. I think they must have heard how rude the man was being. She should have just said, "Oh, of course sir, I'll be happy to check you in for your flight. Let me just quit my job, apply with Alaska Airlines, get hired, go through their training process and get assigned to a shift. Now, I'll want to give my 2 weeks notice and of course take a week or two before I start my new job. I hear Hawaii is wonderful this time of year. I should be able to check you in, let's say, in 6 to 8 weeks? That of course depends on what shift I'm scheduled for, of course." Seriously though, what did the guy expect? Hey everyone, I hope you're all having a really good day and that you enjoyed that video. If you want to check out some other videos, then click on screen right now or check out the playlist down below. If you enjoyed that video, then please do leave a like on it and subscribe if you aren't already. And also check out the Discord if you want to submit your own stories. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you very soon.